Hello everyone, welcome to another Tekken guide, and today we're gonna talk about how to play against Kazuya. Okay, so let's start by explaining that Kazuya's game plan revolves around controlling the neutral with some very oppressive tools like Demon Paw and Electric Wind God Fist. Now, this neutral is very oppressive, and very few characters can actually safely try to contest it. With most characters, like for example in the case of Dragunov, you always want to try to get around this neutral and, for example, apply a sidestep. This neutral is very hard to contest, and with most characters you really just want to try to sidestep. Remember that sidestep left is a strong option against Kazuya. You want to sidestep left and evade this option. So now I'm gonna record a Demon Paw. We also have an Electric recorded. You just want to try to sidestep like this and evade this neutral, because you can't really contest it. Like if you try to do something like this, you will just get lynched. Only another Mishima with a better electric, like in terms of execution, with a faster electric, can actually have a chance to contest this neutral. But if you don't play a Mishima, a good option it's either just trying to sidestep, like I explained, or you can also try to use high crush attacks to go under the electric. So since electric is a move that is very used by Kazuya players, you can try to apply high crush attacks to go under the electric like this and start your offense. So if you can't contest, try to go around it either by moving to using a sidestep, or by doing high crush attacks like a slide, or in the case of Dragunov, a down 2 also. It's a good idea. So this is for the neutral part of Kazuya's game plan, and then we could also mention, of course, is wave dash pressure, right? I can't wave dash on player 1 side, but it's wave dash pressure, right? Where he just goes like this, and then he applies an hell sweep, right? Or he applies a 4-3. In that case, of course, as you probably already know, a good idea is to sidestep left. Both of these options are, you can beat them by sidestepping left. So let me just show you. You can beat both of these options with a sidestep left. There you go. With a sidestep left, you can beat both of these options. Of course, Kazuya has other options to try and keep you in check, like just something very basic, something like, for example, is a CD3, very basic. It's homing and it's easy to do. Of course, in that case, it can tag you, but it's still, you know, sidestepping is still invaluable. It allows you to score some big launchers, and at the same time, it's gonna minimize his use of 4-3, which is exactly what you want. 4-3 is an amazing attack. It's a natural hit launcher, safe all block. By sidestepping and launching Kazuya for doing it, you're basically forcing Kazuya to rely on homing moves, which are much less rewarding. So, and then it becomes a mind game, right? So you either don't sidestep because you expect the homing, or you can try to sidestep into a guard. That's also useful. But you're minimizing the strength of the 50-50 by applying a well-timed sidestep. Outside from this, I guess we could also mention his approach tool in Petricide Fist. this move. This is a new addition for Tekken 8. This move wasn't a thing in Tekken 7. Kazuya always tried to approach you in Tekken 7 with Wave Dash, right? He didn't really have an approach tool outside from, of course, outside from his generic wall running free, which wasn't really that good. It was pretty slow. It was easy to step. But now Petricide Fist is definitely faster. He can do it out of Wave Dash, and it gives him a solid +5, and it leaves him very close. But just like all these other options, this move can be beaten by sidestep left. So nothing really changes. The overall strategy against him is still the same. When you see him dashing towards you, a good idea is sidestep left. Every time you see dashing towards you, crouch dashing towards you, try a sidestep. We could also talk about his Oki, which is very strong thanks to Demon Steel Pedal. But now remove these options here. It's very strong thanks to, if you get knocked down, you know, he has the Demon Steel Pedal, which is a ground hitting mid, that it's safe on block. It launches on counter it as well. So he mainly uses this to force you off the ground. Now, if you tech roll immediately, of course he can just continue to mix up L sweeps, right, like this. If you tech roll immediately, you can just continue by cycling hell sweeps or forward 3. So against Kazuya, every time you get knocked down, it's actually extremely important to mix up the way you try to get up. Don't try to get up always in the same way. Otherwise, the Kazuya players can just adapt and destroy you for always trying to get up in the same way. Of course, if you have to tech roll, it's always a good idea to tech roll left. It's always a good idea. So remember to every time you get knocked down and you have a chance to tech roll, remember to always tech roll left against Kazuya. You don't want to tech roll right, otherwise you will realign for his next hell sweep. But remember that you also have to, sometimes you have to lay on the ground and do nothing. Sometimes you have to hold back. Sometimes you have to use a get up kick, like this. Sometimes you can do a spring kick or something like this, a spring kick. You have to change, you have to alter your strategy on the ground, because you can't always tech roll in the same way. You can't try to get up always in the same way. If you tech roll always in the same direction, Kazuya, even if you tech roll towards the left, Kazuya you can try to realign and then apply his hell sweep so that it will tag you. If you always stay on the ground, it's gonna use Demon Steel Pedal, so you have to you really need to be careful about what you're doing when you're on the ground. Try to mix up your timing on the ground. Sometimes you stand up, sometimes you tech roll, sometimes you stay on the ground, sometimes you stay on the ground, and then after a couple of frames you stand up. So you don't always do the same thing. It's extremely important. You wanna keep the Kazuya players on his toes, not knowing what your next move is gonna be, which is extremely important. It's important with every character, but especially against Kazuya. I guess we could mention is pressure. He has some very interesting tools, like for example forward 4. This move is plus on block. It's +4. Which means that a common frame trap here is with this down for 2. If I press a button, I get countered, right? So when he does this, try not to press buttons here. It's the worst thing you can try to do. Press a button. In most cases, like if you see the Kazuya player getting too comfortable with forward 4, sometimes they like to cycle this constantly. Maybe you can try to press a button, but in most cases I suggest you to refrain from pressing buttons and instead try to sidestep. Now this can be safe or less safe depending on which side you like to play. For example, I like to play on player 2 side. So this means that if Kazuya does this on me, I'm in a forced crouch state. So this means that I can't sidestep towards the left. In this case, I can't sidestep towards the camera. And this means that if I want to step here, I have to step into Kazuya's strong side. That is, while this is not going to happen if you like to play on player 1 side, because in this case you are allowed to step in Kazuya's weak side, right? You can step towards the foreground. So this can be more or less oppressive depending on which side you like to play. But in most cases, I would suggest you just hold back and try to sidestep. Sidestep right is much less safe, but sometimes it's the only option you have. You can just keep holding back or trying to press a button, because it's usually not in your favor trying to press buttons. So sometimes you press buttons, but sometimes you will be forced to step into a strong side sometimes. So if you play on player 1 side, it's gonna be easier to deal with this, because you can very safely sidestep left, and there's not much he can do. Yes, he can use homing tools, but you're much less safe. You're not gonna get tagged by an electric, for example. And another similar situation is after downward 1-2, which is a heat engager that puts you in. It's neutral, so it's not plus, but it will put you in crouch, and it has some pushback, so that down jab will live here. So this is a setup for most Kazuya players. They use this attack as a setup. They use this, and then they see what they try to see what you're doing, and if you whiff something, you try to press a down jab or something, they're gonna punish you for that. So, and just like forward 4, the problem when you block this move is that you can't step towards Kazuya's weak side. You have to step towards the right in this case. So this is also very similar. It's a very similar situation. Again, what I suggest you is just hold back and maybe try to step even in his strong side. Yeah, it's more risky, but what else you can do? You can just hold back like infinitely. At some point you have to do something. Kazuya can also pressure you with other stuff, like for example 1-1. He doesn't have a 13 frames mid check, so when it comes to small Tekken, right? It can't really check you with a 13 frames downward 1. But it still has some interesting tools. You have 1-1, which is heat confirmable. So he's gonna keep doing this, and as soon as he can confirm that he hits you, he's gonna have the third hit. So this is hit confirmable. He's gonna do this all day long, and checking you with this. Then again, down 1+2, it's an amazing low. It's a high crush low, 23 frames that launches on counter it. Kazuya players will use this all day long, hoping to counter it you with this and get a full combo. I guess also downward 1-2 can be mentioned. He also has a mix-up. This is a mid-high. The second hit can be ducked, but he also has a mix-up in downward 1, downward 2. Like this. The second hit is completely safe. You can't punish him. He is, I think, this will think it's -8. -8. With big pushback, by the way. So he's gonna mainly use this up close when he's trying to pressure you. 1-1, forward 4, down 1+2, downward 1-2. Maybe some Kazuya players can try to apply this. Back 2-4. The back 2 on its own is 14 frames. The second hit is a safe high at -3. Most people can't duck the second hit, so they have a decent mid check here. It's not 13 frames, but it's 14. But it's, you know, it's decent enough. So this is like the strategy when Kazuya is trying to pressure you up close. Again, sidestep left can mitigate most of these options. That 1+2 also is very linear. Same goes with down for 1-2. They all can be stepped towards the left. Wait. Wait. As you can see, of course. Oh, the second hit realigns though. Yeah, as you can see, they can be stepped. The only problem is that downward 1-2, the second hit will realign. Unfortunately, this is not exclusive to Kazuya. Some characters, Dragunov used to have that back for free. The second hit used to realign. Brian also has the same thing with down back 1+2. It's a mid-high jailing string, but if you sidestep the first hit, the second hit will realign. So that is a bit more complicated to sidestep, as you can see. But at least you can sidestep down 1+2, 1-1. Also, that other string that I showed you back to 4. This can also be stepped towards the left, as you can see, very easily. Remember to study your character's off-axis combo. That goes with honestly, that goes with every matchup. But like in the case of Kazuya, you wanna know what is your most optimal combo route out of a sidestep left. In the case of Dragunov, I use this one. In the case of Dragunov, but you have to study that because regular combo routes, they usually don't work in this situation. As you can see, in situations like this, regular combo routes, they don't work. Like that is your regular combo route with Dragunov, and the last hit will whiff if you sidestep left. A lot of people will suggest you to pressure Kazuya because of the lack of a 13 frames downward 1. So it's a little bit hard for Kazuya, and also the absence of a hop kick also could be mentioned. It is true he lacks of those tools, so it's harder for Kazuya to deal with pressure. But at the same time, you need to be careful to try and pressure Kazuya. For many different reasons. I think that the most important reason is the fact that it can punish you very hard. 1-1-2 not only can be used as a panic button, like as a 10-frame countered string, because it's hit confirmable, knocks down, and if he catches you using a punishable attack, he can knock you down into his vortex, and you will quickly realize that that is a big problem. You don't want to allow Kazuya to easily knock you on the ground and apply his vortex. So you want to be careful to this move, and you also want to be careful to his quick distance. So in the case of Dragunov, for example, my main low is down 2, right? And down 2 is -13 on block, which means that Kazuya, if he blocks my down 2, he can twin piston me. So and twin piston is also very fast. It's extremely strong. Even if you whiff a high, it ducks under the high, and then you can launch you super quickly with what's standing 1-2. Is extremely strong, and because of this, all he needs is one good read, and then you're launched. It's true, like it doesn't have a hop kick, so you don't have to worry about that, but all he needs is a good read. So you need to be careful when you're pressing buttons. He also has down forward 2. Let's not forget about this move. This is a countered launcher, 14 frames, homing. It's extremely strong, and he's gonna try to counter you with this if you try to overextend too much. So he's not defenseless. He doesn't have a generic 13 frames down for 1, but he's not defenseless. So be careful when you're trying to pressuring him. And again, be careful with punishable attacks. Like with most characters, if you do a -12 move, you're probably gonna eat like a jab string. But against Kazuya, yeah, he can just 1-1-2, and then applies his 50-50. So he can really break your momentum, and it's something that can be a big problem. So try to refrain from using punishable attacks. Try to stay safe. when you're pressuring him. One last thing I want to add is at round start, most Kazuya players, they like to start a round either with down for 2 or down 1+2. They really love these two attacks, and they complement each other so well. Because down 1+2, again, it's a high crush low countered launcher. So they use this move, and they try to evade your attacks to get a launch. But this can be you can basically beat this option by sidestepping, right? So because of this, they also like to use down for 2, which has the same purpose. They're trying to counter it you, but at the same time there's also homing, so you can't really step it. So in this situation, if you block it, of course you can punish it. It's -12, but basically what you have to do is you need to. It's basically mind games here. A good idea is to sidestep, even if you get hit by this. It's not a big deal. A good option could also be to fuzzy guard these both options. It's a little bit more advanced, but it's basically doing a backdash into a duck. You backdash. Wait. You backdash, so you block the down for 2, and then you crouch. Wait. No, that's not a punish. Like this. You punish it. So you do a backdash. Because of the down for 2 is faster than the down 1+2, you will block the down for 2 if you backdash, and then after the backdash you quickly go with a crouch guard because the low is slower, so it takes more frames to come out. Of course, this is a little bit hard, but you see, it's doable. In Tekken 7 it was a little bit easier because down 1+2 was slower. Here, because it's 23 frames, you have less leniency, so you need to be more sharp with your reflexes. But it is a good idea to defeat both options. But even just a sidestep is good enough. Even if you get tagged by down for 2, as long as you don't press buttons, it's not a big deal. As long as you don't press buttons, it's not a huge deal. Well, that's it. That's all I wanted to say. So thank you so much for watching, and take care.